Hello, everybody, and welcome to Co-Creation Station, the podcast where we talk about the law of attraction, the art of allowing, spiritual magic, the mind-body-spirit connection, and how to best enjoy this mystical, miraculous, mysterious, crazy, sometimes confounding, but always incredible journey we call life. My name is Collin. I'm located in beautiful, sunny North Hollywood, California.
My name is Stephanie Orlina. I am a transformational life coach, and I am in San Diego, California.
Thank you so much for listening or watching, however you are enjoying this episode. We just want to let you know we often mention the names Abraham Hicks and Esther Hicks. If you're not familiar with those names, Esther is a speaker and author who channels Abraham. Abraham is described as a group of entities from beyond our physical world who share their wisdom by speaking through Esther at workshops and speaking opportunities around the world. Sounds kind of crazy if it's the first time you're hearing about it, but it's pretty cool, we promise. You can find out more about them online by searching Abraham Hicks or Esther Hicks on your web browser or YouTube. You can also find out more about them online at their website, abraham-hicks.com. Each week we start our discussion here on Co-Creation Station from a different jumping off point, and I had the jumping off point this week because I was watching a YouTube video and about that was giving advice to writers, and the guy who made the video mentioned the Lego movie, which I saw many years ago on HBO. It's a very good film if you haven't seen it. I don't remember it blow by blow, but I remember enjoying it a lot. But anyway, the guy who made this video was talking about the Kragle, which in the Lego movie, there's a villain who wants to kind of take over the land of the Legos and control everybody. And he has this, I forget if he has it at the beginning or if he's trying to get it, and like he's racing the heroes for it or something. But anyway, this thing called the Kragle, which is actually an old tube of crazy glue rather, from the land of like people, like humans, that has somehow fallen into Legoland, and it's old, and so some of the letters have been scratched off. So instead of crazy glue, it looks like it says Kragle, and all the Lego people call it the Kragle. And what the villain wants to do with the Kragle is take everybody in Legoland and arrange them in situations and places that look really nice, and then use the Kragle to glue them in place. And so the heroes have to defeat the villain so that he doesn't glue everybody down into where they're like locked. So, which is interesting in a number of ways to me, because as this guy who made the video pointed out, like when you get Legos, like I'm 52 years old, so when I bought Legos, when I got my first Lego set, it was just a bunch of multicolored, different sized Legos. It wasn't like something specific that you would put together and build. And so I just had this pile of blue, red, yellow, white, black, gray Legos, and I would just make whatever. And then in the 80s, they started coming out with, the Star Wars Lego sets and all these different like kind of branded sets where like you buy the Millennium Falcon, which is a spaceship from the Star Wars film, and it has just the pieces to make the Millennium Falcon. And the main idea is you just make the Millennium Falcon out of Legos. And now there's all sorts of stuff like that, like Harry Potter and all these things. But I would always like ignore the instructions usually, and I would just take the Millennium Falcon like Lego pieces and make something weird with all my red and blue and yellow regular Legos.
I would think a lot of children do that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. But in the Lego movie, they actually it's kind of funny because I feel like today Lego makes most of their money off the pre-made, like you're gonna build this, you're gonna build Hogwarts, or you're gonna build the Millennium Falcon. But the Lego movie actually, like the heroes are trying to make it so that you don't, nobody makes the Hogwarts and then just like keeps it locked in place. Like the heroes are fighting for the Lego's ability to like change and go wherever they want and, do fun things and not just be locked in place. And anyway, so that got me to thinking about how we can feel locked in place in our lives. Like so often, I know I have stayed in romantic relationships that aren't working, and I know they're not working, but I stay. I stay, and it feels like there's some sort of force that stuck me into the relationship. And I've been, somebody used the Kragle on me and I can't get out of the relationship. I've been in jobs like that where I feel like, I don't like the job. It doesn't feel like it's in alignment with who I am, but I need the money. And oh my God, looking for a new job would be so tough. And it feels like, again, someone's used the Kragle on me and I'm stuck in this job. I felt like that in certain homes that I've had, apartments and such, like, well, this place has a lot of problems with it, but if I want to go look for a whole new place, I have to have more money and a down payment and a security deposit, and I have to go look at places and da 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 da. And then again, feel stuck. And I think what we don't realize is like that the law of attraction and the art of allowing, together are kind of like an instant antidote to the Kragle. Like, and the other thing is, like, I think one of the reasons why the Kragle seems so powerful is it seems like it's up to completely us under our own power, with no help from the universe, no help from other people, any other resources. Like, we have to, like, if I gotta break up with this person, it's not working, I'm gonna have to do it all myself, and it's gonna be super hard, and I'm not, if I need to find a new place to live, it's gonna be like, oh my God, I've got to find it, And what we don't realize is, like, again, if we practice the things that we talk about every week here on the podcast, we get ourselves into alignment with what we really want and just feel good inside. Like, it can come to us very easily, and the Kragle can just be easily dissolved. But it doesn't feel like that. When you're stuck by the Kragle, it feels like it's nearly impossible to escape. But that's never true.
Right. And I was thinking, because of the stories that we tell, and when I say stories, I mean what we talk about that subject. Like, for instance, say in your relationship, yeah, but ... Like, yeah, but I don't know. I like, it's going to be so hard, or, I don't want to hurt her feelings, or, whatever you would say. That's the story of why we can't. Yeah, but, and then the beliefs around it. Well, she's a nice woman and I'm really lucky to have her, or, we have mutual friends. And so, that would be really hard. All these things that we say, the story, and then these beliefs around relationships.
Yeah.
Well, I have a girlfriend. Some guys don't have a girlfriend. She's nice to me. She's good to me, whatever it may be. And then I've been listening to some of the All One, All Love Abraham videos that come up. And one I kept hearing over and over again was looking at what is and thinking that's the only thing that's possible.
Well, that's the Kragle, man. That's the mechanics of the Kragle, right? Which is that, and I do feel like this is kind of unfair sometimes. That is, like, because it's very human to look at your present circumstances and think that, and have energy around that, and sort of put energy into it, because it's what you're looking at, it's what you're hearing, it's what you're experiencing, it's what you're feeling, But that is one thing that the art of allowing kind of requires, is you have to allow for this future that isn't here yet to flow in. And if you're super focused on, like, gosh darn it, my car doesn't work, this broke down car, I hate this car, why do I have this car? Like, if you're constantly focusing your energy and your attention on the circumstances of the present, especially what you don't like about the present, you're actually just creating more of that, because like attracts like. So if you're angry about your broke down car all day, you're going to create more opportunities to be angry about your broke down car all the next day and the next day and the next day. You got to have to kind of like let go of that somehow. There are different ways of doing it. Sometimes it's, if you can be in a good mood, then it's like, yeah, start visualizing about a new car. What would it feel like? Whatever. But if you're so pissed off about the car, don't think about cars. Go to the beach and think about something else that makes you feel good. Or just put on a great piece of music and think about other things that have nothing to do with the car that make you happy.
Yeah.
And then that state can allow in, a newer, better car at some point. But we get so focused on the what is, and that's the Kragle. It's like, if you have the ability to just keep whatever vibration you've got going, if you choose to, which is.
So this is a post that I did the other day on my social media. If you will relax and begin saying, everything in its perfect time, Everything is unfolding. I am enjoying where I am now in relationship to where I am going, content where I am and eager for more. And thank you, Angelica, because you loved it when I posted it. So I appreciate you doing that. But that really is like, that is so the art of allowing, like finding something, because there's at least one good thing going on in each of our lives, and talking about that and letting go, and not even focusing on the car or the relationship or the home or whatever, the job, whatever it is that may be disturbing you. Just find one thing, it could be anything, to focus on. Then like you said, I'm feeling a little better, and then when I feel better, I'm attracting more of what I want. But it is hard, I I was telling Colin in friend time that apparently I've shifted my vibration, because I've been attracting men that are more of what I'm wanting. And I was like, oh, I started reading my vision about my man, and I was like, oh, that was just a couple of weeks ago. But when I look back in my phone planner, I've been reading it most days for a month now, and it's obviously changed my vibration, because I'm attracting different types of men into my life. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So as Kelly loves to say, I'm attracting these indicators. The signposts are showing like, oh, okay, I'm getting warmer. I'm getting warmer. And I do that with my home life, like what I want my new place to be. And that one makes me happy. So it is really about, what does Abraham say? You are a creator, not a regurgitator. And it's like, things are always changing for us, but if we're focused on things aren't working out, or I don't like where I live, or I don't like this job, then we're creating more of that, because we're thinking about it, not because it's staying that way, but it's because I'm giving my attention to it. Therefore it can't change.
And I also think too, I mean, I can't prove this one, but it's just my sense, the more that I practice the art of allowing and work with the law of attraction to bring more good stuff into my life, is that it feels like there's a constant free flow of energy and abundance in the universe. And it feels like when I feel stuck, it feels like I'm unnaturally, because of the art of allowing, I can create more of the same. So I end up looking like a regurgitator, even though what's actually happening here, as Abraham points out, is I'm still a creator. I'm just creating more of the same stuff.
Yeah.
It always feels a little unnatural. It feels like something is clogged, and I'm either I am the clog, or I'm causing the clog somehow.
I'm causing the
And
clog. Yeah.
and the other thing is, people notice it too. Like, people pick up on that sort of stuff. Not everyone, but I've had that experience of like being in a relationship, and on the inside, I know I'm stuck, and I know I need to get out of it, but I'm kind of like, just staying stuck and not really moving. And other people in my life will be like, Collin, what are you doing in that relationship? What are you doing? And I'm like, what? It's fine. It's fine. And it's like, yeah, other people can see that the flow is clogged also. Like, it's not working, but you're staying stuck in it. And like, that's you're doing that. I think a lot of times too, we feel like that creating more of the same is like, that's the universe or some outside force
Yeah,
doing
I
it to us.
know.
We
I
don't have
know,
any control
right?
over it. And
Yeah.
it really is helpful for me to think about it as a flow thing. It's like, like thinking of myself as like in a river, and stuff is constantly flowing in and out of my life, and that's the natural thing. So I mean, if something is stuck, that's me, like, hanging onto a big rock or something, like, and it's not, we think of it as like, oh, I gotta do all sorts of effort and everything to get. It's really just like, let go of the rock, like, just like, I love how you started, like, that thing started with relax, like, relax, like, just stop agonizing over the things that are causing you contrast and resistance in the present.
Or we give other people, places and things
Yeah,
more like, oh, it's because of that,
yeah,
it's because, oh, I'm working at this place, or it's because I have to, or
yeah,
because, I can't because of this person or that thing. And so we give an outside entity the decision factor, and it's not. It's like,
yeah,
we have the power, but a lot of times we don't take that power, or we don't even know that we have the power to change it.
Yeah.
Like it's my thinking and my beliefs, or my fear of taking an action. That's a lot of the time. We were talking earlier about, like with work or relationships. And I said, I stayed in my marriage longer because there was also the financial aspect of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, that's the same for me with work. And so there's all these other things, but then that's the fear. And it's like, Spirit did for me what I couldn't do for myself, with literally plucked me out of that marriage and put me somewhere else. And
Yeah.
now I'm having to stretch and grow out of the little box that I kept myself in. And I can see it now, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really what I needed. That was for my highest good. Where before I was like, no, like
Well, I always think of that that cartoon that you sent me. It's sort of, I kind of, it's a religious thing, but I transpose it to take the organized religion part out of it. But like the universe or God or whatever you think of it, having a big teddy bear hiding behind its back,
yeah, I
and
like that one too.
a little girl having to give up her little teddy bear. And it's like, but I love him, and like,
Yeah.
we just don't know what bigger thing is available to us once we open up to this like kind of unknown future. And yeah, it's just sort of like, I think so much fear comes into it. I think financial fear comes into a lot. It has, at least for me in my life, like, talking about the Kragle and staying stuck, like a lot of times it's like, I just feel like, well, if my thinking is, it's really thinking, is that if I take an action to start moving out of this thing that I feel stuck in, like, what if financial catastrophe is the result of that?
Right.
Like,
Instead
at
of
least
the
now,
opposite end, right? Like
right?
I do that now. It's like, oh, like what if, and then what if I run out of money, or what if, and then I'm like, what if the opposite happens?
Yeah,
Because that when I think of what if I run out of money, I'm like, that feels awful. So
right.
that when I can pause and think about it, it's like, oh, I feel bad, not because it could happen, but because my higher self is not thinking that. My higher self's like, you're gonna have plenty of money, you're gonna be fine, everything's okay.
Yeah,
And so that is where I'm working now, is like noticing how the thoughts feel, noticing how I feel, noticing when I'm not feeling good, what is the thought I'm thinking, and then reminding myself it's not because it's true, it's because that thought is out of alignment with my highest good. That thought is out of alignment with what's in my vortex. That thought is out of alignment with what my inner being is focused on. Because that's why it's in the vortex, is when we ask, it is given, and spirit, my inner being, is focused on it. Law of attraction is responding to my inner being too. Like, what? So I have, talking about having all this invisible energy that is working on our behalfs. Like we have a counterpart that is like, yeah, you can be, do or have anything you want. I got your back. Relax. It's done.
yeah.
That to me is like, wow, that's the relationship that I want to focus on and be reminded when I get into self-reliance or I get into fear. Like, Steph, you're not doing it all. You never have, you never
Yeah.
will. Like, you have a ton of energy supporting you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that thing of like doing it alone. I mean, you can do the art of allowing alone, and it still works. But I mean, you're not really alone. Like, you're working with the universe. You're working. It might feel like it's just you, but it's like you're working with, as Abraham says, the power that creates worlds. Like, literally the power that created like the sun, the moon, the stars, the universe. Like, that's a pretty large ally.
And I love it because all cooperative components are being assembled. So like you and I both wanted to do a podcast, even though we never consciously said, well, you did because you started one, but I hadn't started one.
Right.
And then here we are, two cooperative components, and you're just like, let's do it. And I'm like, okay. And here we are in our 6th season. And so and like we were talking in friend time about the D&D world for you, and how you were having there was a lot of great things, but you were having this contrast, and never could have imagined that what you really wanted existed.
Yeah.
And then now you're living it. Like, you've found this new group, and it's just mind-blowing to you how wonderful it is.
Yep.
And for me, as well as, the recent shift with my dating situation, I'm like, oh, I'm attracting more of the men, more men who are the type of guy that I want to be with. Like, I remember a while back, like I would have felt so insecure being in the company of a man who had his own business and was very successful. And then two of the men that I met were business owners and were doing really well for themselves. The thing I love is someone who's really grounded. I don't like someone who's full of themselves and very arrogant and talks about themselves. But both of these men were
I
very
hate those kind of
grounded.
guys. I prefer guys like me that are really honest. Like they're so good at being honest.
And I thought, oh wow, Stephanie, I was interested. Like the gentleman that I had lunch with on Monday, I was curious, like, how did you start your business? What did you do? Like, and in the past, I could not have done that. So I can see my growth and my shift in my energy. And when that happens, right, we attract.
I think this makes me think. I think if we might actually be able to grow our audience at a faster rate if we just change the name of the podcast to Stephanie's New Dating Life.
No.
I feel like dating shows are very popular. Like
Collin and Stephanie's dating life.
no, just Collin and Stephanie talk about Stephanie's dating life.
No.
No, I feel like we'll do like a focus group on that and see. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. When you bring up the indicator experiences, part of me is like holding back because that's a whole topic in and of itself, and we did a really good episode on that. I forget, it was season 1, season 2.
So then it's time to do another one.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's the next one. But I do feel like that's indicators are. To keep it about today's topic, like one of the things that's interesting to me is that I have definitely had the experience of feeling stuck, getting what I now see is indicator experiences. Like, oh, the universe is actually like kind of, I've actually moved my vibration a little bit. Maybe I haven't known that I've moved it, but I have moved it. So little indicator experiences are coming. So an example, I'm not thinking of great examples off the top of my head, but just like if I'm looking for a job, and like suddenly I hear, this is one that happens actually a lot to me, maybe other people can relate, where like somebody else at my company that I know gets another job. And instead of like, and this is years ago before I learned about the law of attraction, but I would think like really what that is, that's an indicator experience. Like that's the universe going, see, this person can leave. You can leave too. I'm just showing you the way. Like it's really easy. They work at that company. You work at that company. They got another job. You can get another job. What I used to do with my brain is go, oh, sure. Well, they can get another job. Not me. I'm stuck, and it's like.
I've thought that same thing about other things. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I've had that same feeling and thought when someone else gets something that I want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, they got it because, again, the story. What are my beliefs? And then I negate. I totally block what it is I'm really wanting instead of being like, oh my God, yay, that's wonderful, being happy for them. And then I'm attracting more of what I want. I'm in the receptive mode of who knows, a month from then, getting a position at another company that I'm like, oh my God, I wanted to work at this place.
I will never forget, and I won't mention the names so to keep people, protect the innocent here, but I had this experience when I was a musician in New York. I was in my band Victor Bravo, the first band I was in there, and we had a great time. But almost all of our shows that we played over our entire history, we would play for between like 10 and 50 people. We had a couple of shows where we play like 100 people, but we play in these small, really wonderful clubs in New York, to fairly small audiences, but we became friends with a bunch of bands that were kind of doing that same thing. And I'll never forget, I went to see this other band that I played shows with before, super friends with them, loved their band. Like I love their records and their shows. And they had, after I was talking to the lead singer after the show, and she said that they played a show a month before that, the night that we're talking, a month before that night, they played a show, regular show, 4 bands, happens every night in New York City, just like some little club, 4 bands, one at 8, one at 9, one at 10, one at 11. You just go and do the thing. But they played a show with this band called Vampire Weekend, and they play, and everybody's playing to like 20 or 30 people. And like a month later, Vampire Weekend just blew up. They were on Saturday Night Live, like, they were in Spin Mags, all these things. And I had found out about the law of attraction at that point. So for me, that was one of my first experiences of like realizing, like an indicator experience of like, wait, my band has played a show with this band. This band has played with Vampire Weekend. Like,
nice.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
But my friend saw it the other way. Like, she saw it the other way. Like, and literally that band broke up. I don't remember how much. It was a few months after that. And I feel like because she was saying, oh, they got our spot. Like there was one spot for all of us, all like 100 bands that all know each other, or in the same sort of zone. And there was one spot. Vampire Weekend got it, and then that's it. We can't. None of the others are gonna make it. And I was like, wow, that's really like the backwards way. I'm like, if they got huge and you were on the same bill with them, like, of course that means you can do it too. Like, But I think a lot of times people, when there's something that people want really badly, and there's this feeling like there's not enough, or feeling like there's this massive amount of competition, that if somebody gets what you want, it's the whole. I'm creating topics for like 6 more episodes here, but
dude, but we always bounce around. We ping pong everywhere. We never stay on topic.
It's the whole thing about like there's one pie, and you have to go get your piece of the pie, otherwise the pie will be gone. And just that's not how it works. Like, it's an abundant universe. Everybody has their own pie. Like, and they're making pies all the time.
And that, I know that's the thing, is like everything I've asked for. I was with a friend yesterday. I've known this man for like a really long time, but we had breakfast yesterday and we chatted for like an hour. It was wonderful. I learned all kinds of things about him I never knew. But one of the things he said to me towards the end of our conversation was, he said, and use the word that fits for you, but he said, God always answers our prayers. And he says it's either yes or no, wait, I have something better.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. And so it's, like Abraham says, like, we can be, do, or have anything we want. And when we ask, it's given, and it's in our vortex, like, period. When we ask, it is given, period. Like, we just stop there. We're done. We're never doing another episode again. When you ask, it is given. So everything we want is already given. And I'm the only one blocking it. Like, it's not like everything I want is for me. So everything you want is yours. Everyone listening to us, what you want, it's yours.
Yeah.
Because everyone else has their own thing, their own collective vortex. It's all theirs. Like, I have so much money in my vortex. I'm like, is it at $1 billion now? I know it's really high in the multiple millions.
Well, I always love that exercise that a lot of, abundance, speakers and lecturers and authors do, which is they pull, like, if they're doing a public event, they pull like 5 people up on stage, and they have a $1 bill, and they tell the first person to buy something off the second person with the dollar bill. And they do. And then they tell the second person to buy something off the third person with the dollar bill. And they go down the line, and you can see how that $1 had $5 worth of power just in one little interaction. And it just sort of goes to show you, like, we look at the universe, like, when we were looking at it in that there's only one pie, and like, if somebody gets one piece, then there's less chance for me to get my piece. Like, that's just not how it works. This is not how it's set up. But you can think about it that way, and then you'll create that,
exactly.
Those blinders.
And it goes back to those beliefs and stories.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Great discussion. Thank you so much for listening or watching, or both. However you enjoyed the episode today, we hope you got something out of it. Remember, we are posting at this point, we are posting a brand new episode for you every Monday morning. We truly appreciate you doing whatever your platform allows you to do to support the podcast. All of our links and our email address are down in the doodly-doo and the YouTube version below. And we wish you a happy and abundant week. And we look forward to you joining us again on the next episode of Co-Creation Station. Bye, everybody.
Bye.